BSAA Star Dust. On a cold July day in 1947, something strange happened in the Andes Mountains. A passenger plane vanished. But before it disappeared, it sent a final message that no one has ever been able to explain. Stendek. British South American Airways Flight Stardust was crossing the Andes from Argentina to Chile. On board were 11 people. It was supposed to be a routine flight. At first, everything was normal. Radio contact was steady. The crew sounded calm. The aircraft was on course. But as they approached the Andes, the situation changed fast. A massive storm system was building over the mountains. Thick clouds covered the peaks. Visibility dropped dangerously low. Still, the crew continued forward. Then came the final radio message, a routine position update, an estimated arrival time in Santiago. Everything sounded fine. And then, the final transmission was received. Stendek. After that, no distress signal, no follow-up, no explanation. The aircraft simply disappeared into the mountains. Search operations began immediately. Planes scanned the skies. Ground teams moved through frozen valleys. Locals joined in, but the Andes gave nothing back. No wreckage, no bodies, no trace of impact. It was as if the aircraft had been swallowed by the mountains themselves. Then came the mystery that made this case unforgettable. That final word, Stendek. Investigators couldn't explain it. A code, a radio error, or something else entirely? For decades, no one knew. And the most disturbing part? The plane would not be found for over 50 years. But even when it was, one question still remained unanswered. What really happened in those final moments before silence? 5 planes vanished. No crash, no signal, no trace. And the rescue team? Gone too. This is the chilling story of Flight 19, December 5th, 1945. 5 U.S. Navy training planes took off from Florida on a routine mission over the Bermuda Triangle. 14 men, led by experienced instructor Charles C. Taylor, expected a simple flight, but within minutes everything went wrong. Mid-flight, Taylor radioed a terrifying message. Both his compasses had failed. The pilots didn't know where they were. They thought they were overland, but in reality they were lost over the vast Atlantic. The weather turned, fuel was running low, and their voices grew frantic over the radio. Then, silence. The Navy launched a massive search. Ships scoured the ocean, planes combed the skies. But one rescue plane sent to find them vanished too. No wreckage, no oil, no bodies, nothing. Some say human error, others blame mechanical failure or sudden storms. But because this happened in the Bermuda Triangle, many whisper something far more mysterious was at play. Even decades later, Flight 19 remains one of aviation's most chilling unsolved mysteries. So, what do you think really happened on that day? Decades later, with satellites in the sky and radar watching every inch of Earth, you'd think a plane simply cannot disappear anymore. March 8th, 2014. A passenger jet takes off from Kuala Lumpur heading to Beijing with 239 people on board. Just another routine flight. Nothing unusual, no warnings, no panic. And then less than an hour into the flight, contact was lost. No distress call, no emergency signal, no mayday. Just silence. At first they thought it was a technical glitch. But then came something far more disturbing. Satellite data revealed something impossible. The plane didn't just drop, it kept flying. Even after losing contact with radar and all communication systems, it continued moving for hours. It stayed in the air, drifting farther and farther away from its planned route. Turning, changing direction, heading deep into the Indian Ocean. A passenger plane flying in complete silence with no communication, no control confirmation, no explanation, like it was being erased from the sky. A massive international search began, becoming one of the largest in aviation history. Oceans were scanned, signals were tracked, millions of square kilometers were covered. But the ocean gave nothing back. Only years later, small pieces of debris washed ashore, enough to confirm the crash, but not enough to explain it. No black box, no confirmed crash site, no final answer. And that is where the story breaks. Because in the modern world, planes don't just vanish, they fall, they crash, they break. But MH370 simply disappeared. Lockheed Electra 10E. Somewhere over the Pacific Ocean, a pilot was circling above empty water, searching for an island she couldn't see. 1937. Amelia Earhart, one of the most famous aviators in the world, was attempting something never done before. Flying around the globe. She and her navigator, Fred Noonan, were flying from Lae, New Guinea toward Howland Island, a tiny strip of land in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. But there was a problem. They were running out of fuel. Radio transmissions captured the tension in her voice. She said they were close, very close, but they couldn't see the island. Below them, nothing but endless ocean. Above them, time running out. They kept circling, searching, hoping to catch even the smallest glimpse of land. But it never appeared. And then silence. No distress call, no confirmed crash, no final location, just a voice that suddenly disappeared. A massive search followed, covering thousands of miles of the Pacific Ocean. Ships, aircraft, entire fleets scanning the water. But nothing was found. No wreckage, no aircraft, no clear answer. Some believe she ran out of fuel and crashed into the ocean. Others believe something even stranger, that she may have landed on a remote island and survived for days, or even longer. But no theory has ever been proven, because somewhere in that endless Pacific, the final moments of Amelia Earhart were lost forever. She said she was close, but the island was never there, and then she was gone. What they might have gone through in their final moments is truly chilling. Tiger Line Flight 739, in March 16, 1962. Flying Tiger Line Flight 739 was crossing the vast Pacific Ocean. On board were U.S. troops heading toward a war far from home, along with the crew guiding them through the night. Everything was routine, no storm, no warning, no sign of danger, but still, the aircraft vanished from radar without a single distress call. Search teams launched immediately, scanning thousands of miles of empty ocean. Days turned into weeks, but they found nothing. No wreckage, no oil slick, no debris. It was as if the aircraft had simply ceased to exist. Then came one chilling detail. A crew aboard a nearby ship reported seeing a bright flash in the sky. At the exact time the plane disappeared, a flash in the middle of nowhere. Some believe it was a mid-air explosion. Others suspect sabotage. Because even today, more than 60 years later, not a single piece of that plane has ever been recovered. 107 people, gone without a trace. And the ocean kept its silence. If you liked this video, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.